The story of the adiparva in the Mahabharata begins with the creation of the universe. In the beginning, there was only Brahman, the eternal, formless cosmic entity. From this formless state, the universe came into being, divided into three realms: the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. The story of the Mahabharata is not just a tale of human kings and warriors, but also a deep reflection of cosmic law and divine will. The gods, sages, and demons play significant roles in shaping the destiny of mortals. The universe is governed by the forces of dharma, righteousness, adharma, unrighteousness, and fate, and the human world is constantly influenced by the actions of these divine beings. The central story of the adiparva begins with the Kuru dynasty, the royal family of Hastinapura, which is central to the entire epic. The Kuru family traces its lineage to King Virata, after whom the land of India is named. The lineage then proceeds through generations of kings, each one building upon the legacy of the previous ruler. The epic delves into the genealogies of various kings and sages, detailing their virtues and flaws, which will later come to influence the course of events. The Kuru dynasty's most significant rulers, King Shantanu and his descendants, are introduced early in this parva, and their actions set the stage for the conflict between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. King Shantanu, the ruler of Hastinapura, was a noble and just monarch, known for his wisdom and valor. One day, while hunting near the banks of the Ganga, he encountered a beautiful woman, Ganga, the river goddess. Struck by her beauty and ethereal presence, Shantanu fell in love with her and asked for her hand in marriage. However, Ganga set a condition: Shantanu must never question her actions. Overcome by his love, Shantanu agreed to her condition, and they were married. Soon after their marriage, Ganga gave birth to a son, but much to Shantanu's horror, she drowned the infant in the river. She repeated this act 6 more times, killing their sons soon after they were born. Shantanu, heartbroken by the loss of his children, could not bear the sight of Ganga's actions, and his patience broke. He questioned her about her deeds, and Ganga, revealing her true nature, explained that she was under the curse of a sage and had to sacrifice her children to release them from the curse. With a heavy heart, Ganga took their 8th child, Bheeshma, and left Shantanu, raising him away from Hastinapura. Bheeshma, the son of Shantanu and Ganga, grew up to be an extraordinary person, embodying strength, wisdom, and righteousness. He returned to Hastinapura as a young man and became a central figure in the Kuru court. Upon Shantanu's death, Bheeshma took a solemn vow to never marry and never claim the throne, despite his immense strength and noble lineage. This vow of celibacy and renunciation of the throne was made to ensure that the throne of Hastinapura would remain uncontested by his own heirs, and it would pass on to the children of Shantanu's second wife, Satyavati. Bheeshma's sacrifice is considered one of the most noble acts in the Mahabharata, and he is revered as one of the greatest warriors in the epic. However, his vow also leads to complexities in the royal succession. Satyavati, the second wife of Shantanu, was the daughter of a fisherman. Before marrying Shantanu, she had been with the sage Parashara, by whom she had a son, Vyasa, a figure destined to play a pivotal role in the Mahabharata. After Shantanu's death, Satyavati found herself in a dilemma about the future of the Kuru throne. She had 2 sons from Shantanu, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya, but neither of them was able to ensure the succession. Chitrangada, the elder son, was killed in a battle, and Vichitravirya, the younger son, was too weak and ill to rule effectively. Therefore, Satyavati turned to her son Vyasa for help. Vyasa was instructed to impregnate the widows of Vichitravirya, Ambika, and Ambalika, through a process called niyoga, in order to produce heirs for the throne. Vyasa, who was known for his wisdom and his divine birth, agreed to his mother's request. From Ambika, Vyasa fathered Dhritarashtra, who was born blind, and from Ambalika, he fathered Pandu, who was healthy. However, the birth of Dhritarashtra, who was blind, led to complications regarding succession, as it was assumed that the throne would pass to the next eligible son. Though Dhritarashtra was the eldest, it was decided that his younger brother Pandu, who was healthy, would become the king of Hastinapura. Pandu's reign, however, was short-lived, as he too was cursed. Pandu, while hunting in the forest, accidentally killed a sage and his wife. The sage cursed him, saying that he would die the moment he engaged in sexual intercourse. Unable to father children with his wives, Pandu withdrew from the throne and went into exile in the forest, leaving Dhritarashtra to rule in his stead. In Pandu's absence, Dhritarashtra became the king of Hastinapura, though he was blind, and his rule was marked by his inability to govern with authority. The political situation in Hastinapura was complicated further by Pandu's return to the capital in the future, and by his own sons. Pandu's wives, Kunthi and Madri, had no children of their own until Kunthi invoked a divine boon that allowed her to call upon any god to father children. Using this boon, Kunthi had 3 sons: Yudistira, the son of Yama, god of justice; Bhima, the son of Vayu, the wind god; and Arjuna, the son of Indra, the king of the gods. Madri too used the boon and had twin sons, Nakula and Sahadeva, who were the sons of the twin Ashvins, the divine physicians. These 5 sons of Pandu are known as the Pandavas, and they become the central heroes of the Mahabharata. Meanwhile, Dhritarashtra's wife, Gandhari, bore him 100 sons, the eldest of whom was Duryodhana. Duryodhana, driven by jealousy and ambition, harbored deep resentment toward the Pandavas, who were seen as rivals for the throne of Hastinapura. The rivalry between the Pandavas and the Kauravas began in their childhood, with Duryodhana plotting to destroy the Pandavas at every opportunity. His cunning maternal uncle, Shakuni, played a key role in encouraging Duryodhana's hatred toward the Pandavas, manipulating his emotions and guiding his ambitions. Shakuni, a master of deceit and strategy, would later play a central role in orchestrating the downfall of the Pandavas. His machinations, combined with Duryodhana's ambition, would eventually lead to the game of dice, a moment of betrayal and deceit that would change the course of the epic. But for now, the seeds of conflict are sown, and the stage is set for the grand struggle between the Pandavas and Kauravas. The adiparva concludes with the growing tension between the 2 branches of the Kuru dynasty. The Pandavas, although born into royalty, have faced many challenges, while the Kauravas, particularly Duryodhana, are consumed by jealousy and a thirst for power. The epic's foundations are laid, and the drama of ambition, loyalty, and righteousness begins to unfold. The story of the adiparva introduces the heroes, villains, and divine forces that will shape the future of Hastinapura, leading to the tragic Kurushetra war that will decide the fate of the Kuru dynasty and the moral future of the world. The Sabha Parva of the Mahabharata begins after the Pandavas, having been raised in exile, return to Hastinapura. The story unfolds in the grand court of Hastinapura, which becomes the central setting for a series of pivotal events that will shape the future of the Kuru dynasty. The Parva is known for the game of dice, which sets the stage for the conflict between the Pandavas and Kauravas. It also introduces themes of politics, honor, and deceit, marking a turning point in the epic. The Pandavas, now grown, have returned to the city after spending years in exile, and they are given a part of the kingdom to rule. The eldest of the Pandavas, Yudistira, is crowned as the ruler of Khandavaprastha, a region that was desolate and barren. With the help of his brothers, he transforms it into a prosperous land, renaming it Indraprastha, which becomes a magnificent city. The Pandavas, with their wisdom, bravery, and unity, gain the admiration of the people, and their fame spreads throughout the land. Meanwhile, in Hastinapura, the Kauravas, led by the ambitious and vengeful Duryodhana, the eldest son of Dhritarashtra, watch the rise of the Pandavas with growing jealousy and fear. Duryodhana, already consumed with envy of the Pandavas for their success and popularity, begins to plot their downfall. He is particularly incensed by the idea that the Pandavas, as rightful heirs to the throne, might usurp the Kauravas' claim to power. Duryodhana, aided by his devious uncle Shakuni, hatches a plan to destroy the Pandavas once and for all. In the meantime, the court of Hastinapura is a place of great splendor and authority, and Dhritarashtra, the blind king, presides over it. Despite his physical blindness, Dhritarashtra's heart is clouded by his favoritism towards his sons, especially Duryodhana, which prevents him from acting impartially. He is unable to see the potential harm Duryodhana's schemes will cause to the entire kingdom. The blind king is further manipulated by his brother Vidura, who tries to warn him of the dangers of allowing Duryodhana to have his way. But Vidura's counsel falls on deaf ears as Dhritarashtra, in his weakness and partiality, fails to curb Duryodhana's ambitions. The Pandavas and Kauravas are invited to a grand Swayamvara, where the renowned King Draupada decides to host a magnificent ceremony for his daughter, Draupadi. It is here that Arjuna, disguised as a Brahmin, wins Draupadi's hand in marriage by stringing a mighty bow and shooting an arrow through a revolving target. Draupadi's marriage to Arjuna marks a pivotal moment in the story. However, it is unique because Draupadi ends up marrying all 5 Pandava brothers, as she is the cause of their mutual bond and their shared fate. Her marriage to the 5 brothers is an event that will have major repercussions in the Mahabharata, especially in the coming years, as it becomes the subject of much discussion and discord. Following the marriage of the Pandavas to Draupadi, the Grand Hall of Hastinapura, known as the Sabha, becomes the stage for one of the most important events in the Mahabharata. Yudistira, as part of his duties as the eldest of the Pandavas, is invited to a grand assembly in the court, where he meets Duryodhana and his allies. The gathering is meant to discuss the future of the Kuru dynasty, but it also reveals the tension between the Pandavas and Kauravas, as Duryodhana continues to plot against them. Duryodhana, unable to tolerate the growing strength and unity of the Pandavas, approaches his uncle Shakuni, seeking a way to break their resolve. Shakuni, known for his cunning and deceitful ways, devises a plan to destroy the Pandavas through a game of dice. He persuades Yudhishthira to participate in a game against Duryodhana, promising it will be a fair competition. The game, however, is rigged from the beginning, with Shakuni using loaded dice to ensure that the Pandavas lose. In the grand court of Hastinapura, the game of dice begins, and at first it seems like a contest of mere luck and strategy. Yudhishthira, a king of great honor and integrity, reluctantly accepts to play, hoping to settle the matter peacefully. However, as the game progresses, Shakuni's cunning becomes apparent. One by one, Yudhishthira's brothers are put at a disadvantage, and they lose vast sums of wealth, territories, and ultimately, their freedom. The game becomes a deadly test of fate, as the stakes rise higher and higher. Finally, in a moment of desperation, Yudhishthira gambles away his kingdom, his brothers, and even himself. He loses everything in the game, and as a result, he is forced into a state of exile for 12 years, with the 13th year being one of complete disguise. The Pandavas must go into hiding, with their identities concealed for an entire year. This period of exile and disguise is to be spent away from the kingdom, away from the comforts of royal life, and it sets the stage for a long and difficult journey. The loss of the game and the subsequent exile are not merely personal misfortunes for the Pandavas, but a moment of great dishonor, especially for Draupadi. After the game, the Pandavas, now defeated and dishonored, are forced to watch as Draupadi is humiliated in the court by Duryodhana and his brothers. Draupadi, enraged by the treatment she receives, vows to take revenge. The entire episode shakes the foundations of the court of Hastinapura, and the fate of the Kuru dynasty is sealed. The Pandavas' exile marks the beginning of a long and painful struggle that will eventually culminate in the Great War of Kurushetra. As the Pandavas are exiled to the forest, they endure many hardships, yet they remain united and committed to returning to Hastinapura to reclaim their birthright. During their time in exile, they seek guidance from various sages and gods, and they prepare for the day when they can return and confront their enemies. The political landscape of Hastinapura also changes, as the Kauravas grow more powerful, but their success comes at the cost of growing animosity and internal discord. Throughout the Sabha Parva, the reader is introduced to the intricate web of relationships, politics, and moral dilemmas that will come to define the Mahabharata. The events of the Sabha Parva highlight the corruption of power, the manipulation of fate, and the disastrous consequences of dishonoring Dharma. The consequences of the dice game, which marks the beginning of the Pandavas' hardships, reverberate throughout the rest of the epic, and the seeds of the final conflict, the Kurushetra war, are sown in this parva. As the Pandavas set off for their exile, the stage is set for the next part of the epic, where alliances will form, enemies will emerge, and the world will be shaped by the forces of destiny and divine will. The Sabha Parva thus serves as a crucial turning point in the Mahabharata, laying the groundwork for the grand struggles that will unfold in the following Parvas, especially the Vanaparva and Udyogaparva, as the Pandavas' return to power is marked by both external challenges and internal conflicts. The tale of greed, honor, and revenge found in the Sabha Parva carries deep lessons about the consequences of actions, the complexity of fate, and the ultimate importance of Dharma. The Vanaparva, or the Book of the Forest, is the third book of the Mahabharata, and it continues the narrative after the Pandavas have lost the game of dice and been exiled to the forest. It is in this phase of their lives that the Pandavas endure great hardships, yet also receive divine guidance and blessings that shape their future. The Vanaparva marks a significant chapter in the epic as it presents the challenges of living in exile, the deepening of alliances, and the forging of a renewed sense of purpose for the Pandavas. The story begins with the Pandavas, accompanied by their wife Draupadi, leaving Hastinapura and heading into the forest. They are stripped of their royal wealth, titles, and positions, forced to live as commoners in exile for 12 years. The first portion of their exile is harsh as they face extreme physical and emotional trials in the wilderness. The once proud princes now sleep on the hard ground, endure hunger and thirst, and grapple with the pain of separation from their kingdom, their family, and their former comforts. Despite these difficulties, the Pandavas remain strong, maintaining their unity and resolve to reclaim their kingdom after the completion of their exile. As the Pandavas traverse the forests, they come across various sages and wise men who impart valuable lessons about life, dharma, and destiny. One of the most notable figures they encounter is the sage Vyasa, who has played a significant role in the events of the Mahabharata from the very beginning. Vyasa, understanding the depth of the Pandavas' suffering and the importance of their mission, gives them counsel on how to navigate their difficult path. He also reassures them that their trials will lead to a greater purpose, and the time for their return to Hastinapura will eventually come. During this period, the Pandavas, along with Draupadi, encounter several other sages, including the famous Markandeya, who tells them stories of the gods and of Rama, providing spiritual and moral support. These stories inspire the Pandavas to hold on to their ideals and virtues despite their hardships. They also find solace in the knowledge that their suffering is part of a greater cosmic plan, and that they must endure these trials in order to restore dharma in the world. Throughout their exile, the Pandavas also face numerous adversaries. The most notable of these is Kichaka, the brother-in-law of King Virata, a powerful monarch in whose kingdom the Pandavas are temporarily sheltered. Kichaka, a warrior of great strength and arrogance, becomes infatuated with Draupadi and attempts to force himself upon her. Draupadi, aware of his evil intentions, calls upon Bhima, her husband and the strongest of the Pandavas, to take action. In a powerful and brutal display of strength, Bhima kills Kichaka, avenging the insult to Draupadi. This victory reinforces the Pandavas' commitment to justice and dharma, even in the face of adversity. As the Pandavas continue their journey, they also gain divine blessings. Lord Krishna, who has been a close ally of the Pandavas since their childhood, plays a crucial role in providing them with guidance. Krishna offers counsel on various occasions, reminding the Pandavas of their higher purpose and urging them to remain steadfast in their pursuit of justice. Krishna's support becomes vital in helping the Pandavas stay united and focused on their goal of returning to Hastinapura. During this time, Arjuna, the third of the Pandava brothers, embarks on a journey of his own. He seeks to further his martial skills and acquire divine weapons. His quest takes him to various sacred places, where he prays to the gods and earns their favor. One of the most significant events of Arjuna's journey is his encounter with Lord Shiva, who tests Arjuna's devotion and martial prowess. After Arjuna successfully proves himself, Shiva grants him the Pashupatastra, a divine weapon of immense power that will play a crucial role in the upcoming war. The Pandavas also meet with various other significant characters during their exile. Duriyodhanan, the eldest of the Kauravas, often tries to undermine their position, fearing their return to power. He continually schemes to keep the Pandavas from returning to Hastinapura, and at one point even tries to bribe the Pandavas with offers of wealth and land in exchange for their submission. However, the Pandavas, unwavering in their determination to reclaim their birthright, reject his offers. The Vanaparva also highlights the important role of Draupadi in the Pandavas' exile. As their wife and confidant, Draupadi suffers alongside them, experiencing the humiliation of being taken into exile, as well as the challenges of living in the forest. Throughout the exile, Draupadi remains a symbol of strength, dignity, and devotion. She also plays a crucial role in the spiritual and emotional growth of the Pandavas. Her patience and endurance under difficult circumstances become an inspiration for the Pandavas, reminding them of the importance of adhering to dharma, no matter how dire the situation may seem. A significant event in the Vanaparva is the sacrifice made by the Pandavas in order to gain the blessings of the gods. In order to strengthen their resolve and to ensure their victory in the future battle, the Pandavas perform an elaborate yajna, sacrifice, seeking divine blessings and strength. The sacrifice is conducted by Draupadi and the Pandavas under the guidance of the sage Vyasa, and it is during this period that the Pandavas receive blessings from various deities, including Indra, the king of the gods, and Yama, the god of death. As the exile continues, the Pandavas' virtues are tested again and again. They encounter numerous other challenges, including difficult moral dilemmas, physical challenges, and tests of character. One of the most important episodes occurs when the Pandavas, during a time of rest in the forest, come across the Yadava clan sage, Rishi Durvasa, known for his temper. When Durvasa demands food from the Pandavas, they are in a difficult situation, as they are living in poverty and have very little to offer. However, Draupadi, through her deep devotion and faith in Lord Krishna, manages to provide food for the sage, who is pleased and offers his blessings to the Pandavas. The period of exile also brings significant reflection for the Pandavas, particularly Yudistira, the eldest. Throughout their time in the forest, Yudistira is constantly pondering the nature of life, the purpose of Dharma, and his responsibilities as a future king. His conversations with various sages, including Vidura and Krishna, help him refine his understanding of moral duty, leadership, and the importance of justice. His decisions during this time will later influence the direction of the war, and his deep commitment to Dharma remains a central theme in the epic. As the 12 years of exile come to an end, the Pandavas, having grown stronger and wiser, prepare for their return to Hastinapura. They know that the kauravas, especially Duryodhana, will not easily relinquish power, and that their return will lead to conflict. But the Pandavas are resolute in their belief that justice and Dharma will prevail. The final months of their exile are filled with preparations for the inevitable war, as they gain allies, hone their skills, and continue to receive divine blessings. The Vanaparva serves as a critical chapter in the Mahabharata, not only for its trials and challenges, but also for the deep spiritual and emotional growth of the Pandavas. The suffering they endure in the forest, along with the wisdom they acquire, shapes them into the leaders they will need to be when the time for battle finally arrives. The book emphasizes the themes of endurance, righteousness, and the importance of inner strength. It sets the stage for the eventual return of the Pandavas to Hastinapura and the beginning of the final conflict, the Great War of Kurushetra. The Virataparva is the fourth book of the Mahabharata, and it continues the story of the Pandavas' exile, following the events of the Vanaparva. After the Pandavas have completed their 12 years of exile, they are forced to spend a 13th year in complete disguise as part of the conditions of their exile. The Virataparva primarily narrates this period of their lives when they remain in hiding, concealed in the kingdom of King Virata, where they take on various roles as commoners, avoiding recognition while waiting for the right time to reclaim their kingdom. This period is filled with intrigue, identity concealment, and dramatic events that lead to the Pandavas' eventual return to power. The Pandavas, as per the terms of their exile, have to spend the 13th year in complete anonymity. They seek refuge in the kingdom of Virata, a righteous and powerful ruler who is unaware of their true identities. The Pandavas, led by Yudhishthira, enter the kingdom in the guise of ordinary individuals, taking on new identities to avoid being recognized by the kauravas or any of their allies who might be searching for them. Yudhishthira, the eldest, disguises himself as Kanka, a Brahmin. Bhima takes the form of a cook named Bhima Sena. Arjuna, the mightiest archer, assumes the identity of a eunuch named Brihanala and teaches dance and music to the princesses. Nakula and Sahadeva become the caretakers of the royal horses, disguised as Sahadeva and Dharma, and Draupadi, their shared wife, disguises herself as Sairandri, a maidservant to Queen Sudeshna. At the royal court of Virata, the Pandavas quickly establish themselves in their respective roles, yet they remain cautious and vigilant, knowing that their true identities could be exposed at any moment. As time passes, they gain the trust and admiration of King Virata and his court. Yudhishthira, in his guise as Kanka, becomes a confidant to the king, advising him on various matters of governance. Bhima, working as the cook, impresses everyone with his extraordinary strength, though his true abilities are hidden. Arjuna, despite his disguise as a eunuch, continues to teach the princesses Uttara and Subhadra, all the while concealing his martial prowess. Nakula and Sahadeva, performing their duties as caretakers of the horses, prove their expertise in horse management. During this period, the Pandavas, though living in hiding, do not remain passive. They maintain their martial training and keep their resolve intact, knowing that the end of their exile is approaching, and they must eventually reclaim their kingdom. However, their stay in Virata is not without its complications. The kauravas, under the leadership of Duriyodhanan, are still plotting to prevent the Pandavas from returning to power. One day, a challenge arises when the kauravas, led by Shakuni, decide to attack Virata's kingdom. They send an army to raid the kingdom, intending to capture the cattle and plunder the wealth of Virata. The Pandavas, though in exile and in disguise, recognize this as an opportunity to prove their valor once again and defend Virata's kingdom from the invaders. In a crucial turn of events, the Pandavas reveal their true strength when they decide to fight the kauravas in disguise. Bhima, ever the fierce warrior, demonstrates his might by single-handedly killing a significant number of the enemy soldiers, while Arjuna, disguised as Brihanala, is compelled to pick up his bow and fight. Despite being in disguise, Arjuna's unparalleled skills as an archer become evident as he takes down enemy warriors with great precision. The battle culminates in Arjuna using his weapons to destroy the Kaurava forces, proving that even in exile, the Pandavas are a force to be reckoned with. The victory over the Kaurava army greatly enhances the Pandavas' standing in Virata's court. Virata, who has grown fond of the Pandavas, becomes more and more impressed with their courage, honor, and strength. He rewards each of them for their role in the defense of his kingdom, though the Pandavas continue to keep their true identities hidden. Despite this success, the Pandavas remain focused on their primary objective, the completion of their exile and the eventual reclaiming of their kingdom, Indraprastha. The moment of exposure comes when Uttara, the son of Virata, is preparing to face an enemy force in a battle, and he requires Arjuna's help. Uttara, who has been learning archery from Arjuna in his disguise as Brihanala, is about to lead the army into battle. However, Uttara's confidence falters, and he realizes that he is not prepared for the task ahead. In a moment of desperation, he seeks the help of Brihanala, not realizing that this eunuch is actually the great Arjuna. Arjuna agrees to help Uttara, revealing his true identity in the process. When he does so, his magnificent weaponry, skills, and form as an archer become clear to everyone in the kingdom, dispelling any doubts about who he is. Arjuna, in his true form, takes the lead in the battle and helps Uttara secure victory, decimating the enemy forces. After this grand reveal, the Pandavas' true identities are finally exposed to King Virata and his court. The people of the kingdom are awestruck and elated to learn that the mighty Pandavas, whom they had sheltered for so long, were living among them in disguise. King Virata, overjoyed and immensely grateful, offers to return their kingdom and extends his support in any way possible. The Pandavas, however, are determined to fulfill their vow and take back their kingdom through their own strength and efforts. While Virata's assistance is valuable, they know that they must face their enemies directly. As a gesture of gratitude and to honor the Pandavas, Virata offers Uttara's hand in marriage to Draupadi, who had also been living in the palace in disguise. Uttara agrees to marry Draupadi, though this marriage remains symbolic, as the Pandavas have already been bound to her through their shared relationship. The Pandavas' return to their true form also marks the end of their difficult period of exile and disguise. Though their stay in Virata's kingdom has been a time of trial and endurance, it also proves to be one of profound growth and development for the Pandavas. In the midst of their hardships, they prove their mettle in battle, gain the trust of King Virata, and secure their place as the rightful rulers of their kingdom. The victory over the Kauravas' forces and their successful concealment of their identities further emphasizes the Pandavas' strength and their ability to maintain their resolve, no matter the circumstances. The Virataparva is a significant chapter in the Mahabharata, demonstrating the themes of loyalty, duty, and the importance of honor and courage. Despite the hardships faced by the Pandavas, this phase of their life strengthens their character and prepares them for the future battles that lie ahead, especially the Kurushetra war. The Parva ends with the Pandavas finally emerging from their exile and heading towards their long-awaited confrontation with the Kauravas. The story of the Virataparva also reinforces the notion that even in times of disguise and adversity, true strength, honor, and righteousness will ultimately prevail. Thank you for watching. Second part of the video is coming up, so stay tuned and make sure to hit the subscribe button.